Rain knives the windshield, the taxi fishtails. Driver white-knuckled. Brakes screaming. If something's in that road, they're about to meet it. Yeah, hard.
What would you trade to vanish? And who pays the bill when the world stops saying your name? A calm voice slices the static, promising more news, then inhales like a blade before naming another lost student. They revisit a disappearance from last month, and money slicks the story like oil, hinting at debts, backroom deals, and hands that squeeze until breath runs thin.
Bundles of 10,000 yen stare back, crisp edges biting the light, ink smelling cold, heavy as guilt. The missing one is a university student in Tokyo. A name fights its way up, Mitsuguchi, half-formed, as if a hand gripped the throat before the last syllable. Cash does not sit. It chooses. It devours. It buys silence while a life slides off the map. One word surfaces. Papa Katsu, honeyed going down, rancid in the gut, an economy of favors, a ledger that never forgets. Sunlight scrubs the campus clean, but shadows cling to the railings like old gum. Inside, the lecture hall breathes, stale air and humming lights, backpacks slumped like sleeping animals. A few students wait, pen taps like ticks, screens smear their faces blue, pretending routine can shield them, while somewhere a name keeps echoing, unfinished. Could you sit through class with your pulse knocking in your ears, knowing a price tag might already hang from your throat? Do not smile. The night remembers every debt, and it always comes to collect.
How many hours would you sell to keep the lights on? In a room that smells of scalded coffee and sun-baked plastic, a thin slip of paper cuts closer than any knife. A classmate slides it across, and Hinata stands there, throat tight, pulse trying to claw out. Her fingers tremble, a thin breath slipping past, because that is all she can afford.
The pay statement stares back. 73.5 hours, a bargain rate, a total that mocks sweat and time. Paper edges bite her thumbs, ink blurs as her eyes flood, shock pricks like ice beneath the skin. How do you smile when the math says you lose? Fingers land on her shoulder, warm and grounding, a reminder she is seen. Miki speaks her name. Hinata still flinches. Static creeps through her nerves. She drags her gaze up, trying not to crack. The doorway breathes. Miki arrives with sunlight and a wave. Hinata's voice jumps, relief pretending to be joy. They slide into seats, trading small talk about breaks and benches and nothing that hurts. Hinata admits she worked through summer, almost every waking hour. The words taste like metal.
Miki laughs, soft and bright, calling her the same as always. Hinata nods, then pivots, voice dropping. More important, there is something she needs to ask, but the words snag on her tongue. Gold kisses skin. A ring pendant catches the light. The bag gleams like a promise. Leather breathes a sweet, expensive smell. Curiosity flares, envy scratching behind Hinata's ribs. She points, counting brands with her eyes. Miki beams. She swears she bought it all herself. Of course she did. Admiration spills out of Hinata, honest and bright. Still, a question curls in the dark. How did she afford this?
Later, the world narrows to a white hush. Hinata asks if the money came from part-time work. Miki hesitates. The phone is a cold rectangle in her palm. Her smile twitches, polite and distant. She says something vague, something like that. The words skate over the truth, never touching it.
On the steps, a notification snags Hinata's breath. Her eyes widen, the screen bleeding light into her pupils. She leans in, eager, asking what the new job is. Miki sings, "It is a secret," and tucks the phone away. The bag on the bench gapes open, zipper teeth glinting, like a mouth deciding whether to speak. Hinata pleads for a hint. Miki refuses with a smile that only shows teeth. Secrets pay well. They also collect interest. City air tastes like exhaust and rain. The station swallows strangers and spits them out in waves. They part with easy gestures and practiced warmth. Miki checks her phone while walking, attention already elsewhere. Hinata keeps her hand raised a heartbeat longer, as if she could catch what is slipping. The crowd moves, indifferent. Her eyes shine, not from the sun. It is lonely to be the only one still counting.
Night comes either way. The city counts every hour, every debt, patient and hungry, and it always takes its due. How far would you go to buy silence in a city that never forgets? Whispers cling to her hair like wet fog. They nudge and trade glances, certain they have seen her before. Certain it is Miki. She turns, feeling teeth behind the smiles. Her jaw locks, her bag drags at her shoulder, and the night watches.
Eyes narrow, lashes catching city light. A breath stalls. Someone finally risks it. Voice soft, testing the air. A name hovers, a blade still sheathed.
An iron voice rolls from the rafters, announcing an express for Platform 3. Screens glow, feet shuffle. Time crawls like a conveyor belt that never stops.
Hinata slips along the platform edge, phone warm in her palm. The rails breathe heat and metal. She keeps to the light, shoulders tight, every step measured near the yellow line.
On her screen, a headline lays out the bargain. Spend time with older men, eat, shop, talk, take money, no promises of touch. Her throat clicks. Papa Katsu. The words taste expensive and cheap.
Voices crowd the car. One swears they saw her fingers laced with a man old enough to be a father. Hinata clamps the phone, knuckles bone white, breath thinning, sweat beading under her bangs. She scrolls through recommended apps, clean fonts selling safety, age checks, allowances, terms that sand the edges. Someone whispers the money pours in. Her pulse ticks in her ear, counting all the things she cannot afford.
Disgust leaks from nearby mouths. Gross, they mutter. How could she? Each word hits like spit on tile. Hinata lifts her spine as if taller could mean smaller. Her stomach knots, hot and hollow, a little burn at the back of her tongue. She looks away from the doors, lips pressed thin, eyes buried under a curtain of hair. Heat blooms across her cheeks, pupils wide, fingers trembling as fear drags its nails along her ribs. Her thumb accepts the terms. A confirmation blooms, tidy and proud. The screen says, membership complete. Even I, she thinks, and something inside her exhales like a dying light. What would you trade to feel less helpless?
The train hums, a coffin of glass and steel packed with secrets. The city keeps the ledger, and it always takes its due. Could you live with that debt, or would it devour you?
If comfort had a price, would you pay with your safety or your soul? The complex sleeps, lights humming, while something hungry counts every heartbeat behind those doors.
Damp hair clings to her neck, skin warm from steam, mind cooling. A phone shivers on the sheets. A pale glow slices the room. Her breath tightens as the lock screen blooms, promising news she did not ask for. A stranger types her name and offers compensation. Sugar wrapped around a hook. Her throat dries, pupils dilate, fingers tremble against the glass. A quiet gasp slips out. Would you answer a message that already knows you?
Relief hits like warm rain. The reply arrives, nerves crackle. A new message lays down careful terms, meals only, nothing more. Boundaries sound safe, until hunger tests them. She types fast, agrees to talk and eat, and keeps the door closed.
She sprawls back, legs raised, damp hair cooling on the pillow. Small, sharp smirk blooms, as if she just outfoxed the night. Predator or prey? Which smile is that?
The city opens its jaws, neon dripping off steel. Screens glare, crowds mumble, and the air tastes like rain and exhaust. Could you trust a meeting in a place that devours names?
A polite voice cuts through the noise, soft but precise. She turns. He asks if she is Hinata, as if the question weighs nothing. Courtesy can be a blade wrapped in velvet. She stammers a yes and asks his name, eyes never leaving his face. He confirms with a nod and a quiet answer. The tension loosens, not gone, just hiding in the corners. She thanks the universe under her breath. He sets the pace. Shoes strike stone, a steady metronome, while heat from the crowd clings to skin. Neon hums. Her shoulders rise. Her eyes widen as a warning crawls up her spine. Inside the bag, her fingers find the cold cylinder, a promise of burn and escape. The strap bites her palm as she holds it close. She cannot read him.
Could you? He stops at a threshold and says they have arrived. Her pulse drums in her ears, slow and hard. Whatever this place is, it will test those tidy rules. The threshold waits. Hungry, smiles crack, masks slip, and the night collects its due. Would you share a warm table with a stranger whose smile hides a blade? Could you taste joy, knowing something hungry waits beyond the door? Could you survive? He gives the name to Kino, steady and practiced. The host glides ahead. Leather soles hush over tile as the room swallows their footsteps.
High backs rise like walls, trapping heat and whispers. Hinata knots her fingers, her knuckles pale, and admits she has never tasted Spanish food. Saffron and garlic lift, bright and sweet.
He murmurs.
Is that so? And one eye catches the light like a coin sinking in a deep well.
Her breath stalls against a small smile that will not hold. A polite server confirms the course and asks them to wait. The pause clicks like a latch.
She paints the air with optimism, eager and bright. Across from her, the man lets silence sit between them like a third guest. A cool bead crawls down her temple. A watch ticks under a leather strap, steady and stubborn as teeth. His gaze does not blink. A suited arm arrives with a veiled plate. Steam breathes an apology. Her eyes lift, hungry for relief. Dishes land soft on wood. A courteous blessing invites them to enjoy. She tastes first. Oil shimmers. Paprika blooms. Joy sparks on her tongue. A black pouch meets the table with a flat thud. Takino asks her to listen while she eats, his voice low, almost gentle. Her fork slows midair. She agrees, unaware she just opened a door she can never close. He leans in and drops the truth like a stone. I have a family. A glossy photo warms in his hand. His wife, Ryoko. His daughter, Yui. His voice softens on their names. Every day was bright, every laugh easy. Hinata's smile thins and clings. Air sticks in her throat. Wouldn't this become a problem if someone found out? She whispers, already tasting the shame. Both of them are already dead. He does not raise his voice. He does not need to. The words gut the room clean. Hinata's pupils dilate. The spoon trembles above the sauce. Curry heat turns metallic. Her lips part, but no sound climbs past the dry burn.
Sansan, about 15 years ago, he says, you died while I was at work. Since.
Yet in that rhythm, guilt chews the past.
The table stays warm, but the world runs cold, and saffron tastes like iron. Could you still take another bite?
If rain hammers your street and smoke claws your lungs, could you keep standing? When your home turns into a chimney, what breaks first, your body or your mind?
He names the culprit. A neighbor grew careless with flame, and the building became a furnace. The blaze devoured entire floors, ladders scraped the sky, and water boiled on concrete. It burned for a full day until the street stank of melted wire and bitter ash. Hinata tries to speak. Her tongue sticks to the roof of her mouth, and her breath turns thin and sharp. Cold sweat needles her temples. They escort him to the remains. He searches for faces and finds none. Only black shapes, cracked and brittle like charcoal. Rain beads, runs, and the ash sloughs away. He tells her the worst of it. Touch them and they will crumble. The rain turns soot and skin into a dark paste, and the night smells sweet and wrong. His voice cuts through the fog. Hinata, he calls. Once, twice, steady as a metronome. Her shoulders twitch. She nods, stammers an apology, breath tasting like rust. He repeats her name, holding her attention by the spine. He leans closer, hair stuck to his brow, eyes dark with intent. Teeth show.
My story, he asks. Are you enjoying it? The words slide like a thin blade.
Hinata's pupils bloom. A drop crawls down her cheek, cold as rain. Her lips part. A small sound dies before it escapes. Could you answer that and stay sane?
If you are tempted to smile,
Do it softly, because the dark smiles back, and its teeth are many.
How much is a yes worth under neon light? Could you accept, knowing the dark keeps receipts? The glass sweats, the table gleams, and the room smells faintly of bleach and beer. Hinata swallows, then whispers yes, a thin breath dressed as courage, her pulse ticking like a bomb.
Outside, the city hums like a hive, the air tastes of fried oil and rain. Her thanks tumble out, apology hitching. Shoulders lock, fingers clutch the strap until knuckles pale.
Takino lifts a wallet, calm as a judge. He says they should call it a day, for now. The words close the door, not the case, and the silence that follows weighs like wet wool.
Paper whispers as he offers a thick wad. The ink smells sharp, and the edges bite her palm before she even takes it. Bait, wrapped as kindness. Hinata stares. Breath stalls. He calls it an allowance. Wants her to take it. Her throat tightens. Sweat beads at the nape of her neck. This much feels wrong. She shakes her head. She says she cannot accept it. The word no rattles like a loose tooth. His gaze holds, patient and heavy. It is fine, he insists, voice too smooth to trust. He says he is happy she enjoyed his story. The compliment lands warm, yet it chills, like steam off a sewer grate. He asks to talk again, a promise with hooks.
Hinata's fingers tremble, nails biting her skin. Heat climbs her cheeks. She nods, yes, if she is good enough. Relief trickles in, threaded with a dread she cannot name. A deal clicks shut.
Under blurred lights, he wishes her good night and vows to contact her again. She answers softly. Footsteps fade into the narrow glow. She watches his silhouette thin, swallowed by signs and shadows. Silence stretches. Banknotes fan like cold leaves, each 10,000 yen a neat little oath. A small laugh leaks out. She bares her teeth and whispers that she did it. Victory tastes sweet, and a little like rust. Alone in the glow, she tucks the money away and listens to the city breathe. How much is a yes worth when the night comes to collect? The dark keeps receipts.
What would you trade for a simple yes? Morning laughs, but night keeps receipts. The campus stretches and yawns, innocent, unaware the debt is coming due.
Hinata lifts a hand, a bright hello on her lips. Miki answers, but surprise tugs at her smile. Her gaze drops to the ground, curiosity sharpening like a blade.
Leather buckles wink. Wedge soles give her height and a new swagger. She laughs, says she got herself new shoes. The straps kiss skin, a promise and a price.
Some money came in, so she treated herself. Miki leans in, her tone playful with an edge, asks if it was a part-time job.
Hinata presses a finger to her cheek, dimples deep, a giggle that hides teeth.
It is a secret,
she sings, tasting the sweetness of control.
Miki plays along, but want burns through the banter. She groans that she is curious, calls Hinata stingy. Leaves whisper above, blue sky blazing, and Hinata's thin smile refuses.
An eyelash trembles, her pupils constrict, breath cools, exclusion bites harder than an insult. Secrets breed distance, and distance breeds mistakes. Could you laugh while the ground shifts under you? Daylight grins, for now, but night counts every breath. Keep smiling, if you can. Imagine a stranger asking you to taste his grief. Would you swallow, or would it sit in your throat like ground glass? Daylight hums, cutlery whispers against porcelain, and something hungry waits between polite smiles. Could you survive the first bite?
The table breathes a quiet that pricks the skin. Her fingers hover above the plate, knuckles pale, pupils blown wide. Her throat dries, a bead of cold sweat tracks her cheek. She tries to speak, the words snagging as etiquette wrestles with survival behind a practiced smile. Plates wait, gleaming like offerings. He invites her to eat, his voice smooth as folded linen, edges sharp underneath. The aroma runs warm, but the air tastes cold, metallic, like a knife held out of sight. She presses her palms together, whispers, "Itadakimasu," like a small prayer. Her smile holds, stitched and thin. A fork tests the meat, and when he calls her name, the game resets. His mouth opens, shadows nesting between his teeth, and he asks her to listen again. She agrees at once, eyes closing for a heartbeat,
manners sealing the pact. He bites as he speaks of family, saliva threads gleaming, each word a wet confession.
In his telling, flowers sway and a small head fits beneath a gentle hand. Pride swells his chest, yet his unblinking eye shines too wide, too bright. Kind, he says, and proud, the syllables grinding like stone.
The warmth curdles. He says fire took them, a savage blaze that devoured the building. Glass popped, walls roared, the night screamed. Water spills over porcelain, trying to mimic rain, but memory keeps burning.
His hand tightens on his lap. He says their bodies burned beyond recognition, reduced to blackened charcoal. Skin seared, names erased. The stink of smoke and grief still clogs his lungs. Her pupils flare. He speaks her name, then turns the knife. My story. Are you enjoying it? The question crawls across the table and grips her throat. She drags in a breath, chooses survival, and answers, yes.
Later, under neon, he thanks her for the fun and promises another round. His hand slides a thick stack of bills into her palm, paper rasping like dry leaves. Her mouth opens, no words. He wishes her good night. She returns it, thin and careful. The money weighs more than metal, and her laugh fractures before it leaves her tongue.
The city watches from far away, a quilt of windows, indifferent to the bargains sealed below.
Messages ping, an evening ritual, another door breathing warm lantern light. She leads him inside and asks for ears again. A straw taps her teeth. Salt stings her eye, and the truth spills.
They died in a fire. Bills fan out, crisp and clean. His silence hangs, a thought unfinished, sour in his throat.
The pattern loops. Meet, eat, listen, pay. Time shift, faces change, yet the script stays the same. Sauce glistens like cooled ash. An iris fills the world, resolve pulled thin. Money slides, smooth and certain. Chairs wait, their backs like oval eyes. Teeth part, and the dead words drag out once more. They died.
The room holds its breath. Midnight lingers at the edge of the tongue, and the city does not care. Do not waste a smile here. Save your breath. The stories are still hungry.
If a hallway could trade safety for money, how many times would you take the deal before it priced out your soul? Would you still call it living, or just buying time before the fall?
Hinata folds into herself on the bed, knees cinched tight, eyes glassy. Across the room, 10,000 yen bills sit like bait, clean and quiet. The pen beside them, a witness.
The air is heavy with dust and thin sunlight. Her jaw locks. A tremor pulses through her fingers.
A tear clings to her lash before it breaks. She exhales hard, a breath that rasps her throat. The phone rests by her ribs like a small animal poised to bite. She curls around it but will not touch. Her heartbeat stutters, trying to lie. A polite message waits on the screen, slick with need. He wants to see her again, at night, tomorrow, or the day after. She reads every word twice, then again. The space between blinks turns heavy. In class, a whisper detonates under the benches, sharp enough to jerk heads and still hands. Miki blurts it, papakatsu, like a dare. Hinata lunges for hush, finger to lips, goose flesh rising. Sorry, sputters out, small and hurried, but ears keep listening.
Miki softens and says she already felt it. Her gaze drops to the phone in Hinata's hands. Why all of a sudden? She presses. Sweat beads along Hinata's cheek. Her mouth opens, stalls, opens again. It is just. She starts and swallows the rest.
Later, a booth holds their silence. The glossy bag gleams like a quiet accusation. Hinata admits it feels creepy, but says nothing bad is happening. The money flows easy. Still, something is off. A wrong note under a pretty song. Miki lets out a low, uneasy yeah.
Hinata studies the black glass. She has enough, she says. Maybe she should cut ties with Takino-san. Miki nods and offers an exit. Say you got busy with university. Yeah, Hinata whispers. She will reject him right now. Her thumb hovers, trembling, then descends. The message leaves like a soft blade. She writes she is sorry, busy with university, unsure when she can meet next. Time blinks back. 10:42. The screen cools. The air does too.
Some debts come wrapped in kindness. They still cost bloodless pieces of you. Could you walk away before the bill comes due?
When kindness carries a price, would you notice before it eats you alive? Hinata walks the brick approach, breath measured, pretending the day is harmless.
Her name slices the air. Cold climbs her spine, sweat beads, pupils bloom. He closes the gap with empty eyes, and she breathes his name like a mistake.
She forces a smile that stings her cheeks, trying to float on small talk. His shadow swallows it. "Will you listen to my story?" he murmurs, voice soft, trap set.
Her sandals rasp the tile as she edges back. She apologizes, claims she is busy, heart banging against bone. Public eyes mean nothing when a hunter smiles.
He nods like he understands, then pushes bills forward.
Today's payment.
The paper smells of ink and metal, edges crisp, weight heavier than it should be. Her throat tightens. She says she cannot accept it, that she did nothing. Still, she hugs her bag closer, as if it could shield her ribs.
His eye glints under shadow. He insists that talking counts. "Please accept it," he coaxes, words oily, pressure tightening like a hand at the back of her neck.
Her fingers brush the money, then close. A small surrender slips from her lips. Somewhere inside, a door clicks shut. She walks away haloed by bland mall light, clutching the notes. He watches from close enough to feel, his gaze trailing her like a leash. A flat announcement drones, repeating Takadana Baba. Steel groans, rails hum. The day pretends to be ordinary again. Hinata sits with her bag pinned to her lap. She scrolls, breathing steady, trying to believe she escaped the debt. The zipper slackens. A hush of paper breathes out. 10,000 yen notes bloom across her lap, crisp wings fluttering, ink biting her nose, blood rushing her ears. Her vision needles. Heat surges, her mouth opens. A startled cry, tears free, heads turn. The money shines like bait. He leans in, blotting out the aisle with his chest, eyes like bottomless pits. "Will you listen to my story?" he asks, as if kindness had teeth. Her hands tremble over the open bag, nails pressing half moons. She gasps, then shouts, "Stop! You are bothering me! You are bothering me!"
Doors yawn, air rushes. A hooded back slips through the gap while a woman clutches her phone tight. The platform blurs like a held breath.
His stare drills in, pupils pinpricks in a sea of shadow. No grin, no blink, only the promise that the story is not over. The city exhales, and somewhere the next chapter sharpens its teeth.
What do you do when the hunter walks in daylight, stalking you between long windows and bright halls, pretending to be ordinary? Fluorescent hum, glass that reflects his smile. Your pulse tries to hide. His footsteps learn its rhythm.
Her name cracks the air, sharp and scared. Miki's head snaps toward the voice. Hinata drops to her knees, palms burning on cold tile, lungs scraping for air. Miki crouches beside her, voice steady.
"What happened? Are you okay?"
Tears smear Hinata's vision, chin quivering, words spilling. "I cannot take it anymore," she whispers. "He has been following me. How long can a heart run before it breaks?"
Miki recognizes the pattern, the same bastard Hinata warned about. Her voice hardens to iron. "We are going to the police, now." Hinata drags a sleeve across wet cheeks, breath hitching, hands still trembling. Cloud light opens above like a clean breath, and she nods. "Okay." At the police box, an officer lays it out. Money forced into her life by a stalker counts as contact. They take custody of the cash, methodical, no drama. "Do not be alone if you can help it," he warns. "I understand," Hinata answers, while Miki watches, jaw tight. Under the overpass, a taxi idles, yellow light in exhaust haze. Miki suggests they ride home together, and Hinata agrees. A roadside board lists yesterday's toll, 1 dead, 9 injured. a whisper that safety is a lie. Hinata breathes a quiet "oh," unsettled.
At the curb, Miki presses a folded bill into Hinata's hand. Take it, taxi fare.
The world tilts. Hinata's pupils flare. Sweat beads. A startled cry, tears free. Pain blooms behind her eyes. A migraine spike, and she clutches her head. Miki panics, apologizing as she reaches to steady her, voice tripping over the words. Sorry, I am sorry. Breath by breath, the storm passes. I am fine, Hinata insists, voice thin but holding. Miki nods, still murmuring, sorry, as their plan crawls back into motion. Daylight does not save you. It only reveals how close the hunter stands. Keep your keys ready, keep your voice low, and listen for the rhythm of your own fear. Could you survive?
How much is your life worth when a stranger pays for where you end up? If mercy feels like a leash, would you notice it cutting into your skin? Could you survive a gift that tightens?
Night slides past in dull neon, and the driver says he is almost there. Hinata nods, pulls out a bill, and asks if 10,000 yen will cover it. Sweat tackies her fingertips to the seat. Her pulse beats high in her throat. He waves it off with an easy grin. He got paid before she even climbed in. Her breath stumbles. He cracks a joke about surprises, says a man left 100,000 yen and told him to keep the change. Sweat beads along her hairline. The cabin seems to shrink, the air pressing her down, urging her quiet. She whispers about that person, asks what he looked like. Her voice scrapes raw, her chest cinches. The driver squints, asks what she means, and his focus slips for a breath. Cold prickles creep up his neck. His fingers tremble on the wheel. The heel hammers the brake. Bodies whip forward, teeth click. A long shriek of rubber rips across the street. Headlights flare, and the cab claws at the dark. Rain roars in a memory that feels too close. The wheel bucks, knuckles bleach. Water slaps the glass, and the car skates. Weightless, hungry for the ditch. The engine howls like a wounded thing. The cab snaps toward the curb, tires coughing grit. Hinata gasps. What on earth? The words die in her mouth. She turns, hunting for a threat she can name. Her eye floods with light, pupil blown wide, breath cold against her teeth.
Elsewhere, or maybe only a heartbeat away, a body lies face down in a black pool that smells like iron. Papers drift like dead moths. A final story bleeds into the floor.
A gaunt face lifts from the dark, skin etched with ruin. The voice is a rasp, patient and cruel.
Did you hear me? It does not need to ask twice.
Keep your voice low, keep your eyes forward, and pray the stranger who bought your destination paid for your return.
What if the call that saves you also brands you? Would you answer? Or let it ring while the night decides your fate? The corridor outside breathes cold, and inside her phone crawls across the blanket, buzzing like a trapped thing. Hinata stares, pupils blown, breath snagging on a single thought, thumb trembling above the screen as cold sweat slides between her shoulder blades.
The screen spells police. A steady voice asks, "Is this Miss Mitsuguchi?" Her throat tightens around a soft yes. Paperwork drifts across the table. The blister pack glints, and the taste of metal rises on her tongue like regret. In her ear, the officer circles the wreck, choosing words like a surgeon. The victim, Mr. Takino, unfortunately, he passed away yesterday. Her knuckles blanch around the phone, heat drains from her face, and the room thins to a hum.
The dashboard camera offers its sterile truth, the officer says. We believe it was suicide. The word hangs like ash, heavy, ordinary, impossible. She does not argue. She just breathes. She whispers that she understands. And goodbye.
Her toes press to the cold planks, searching for an anchor. Fingertips graze the curtain. The line dies, and silence pours in. On the threshold, dust pricks her feet. The morning air tastes thin. Slippers wait like witnesses she forgot to summon. She steps back inside, eyelids lowering.
chasing one clean breath. Hair slides against her collar, and the world steadies a fraction.
A softer ring, a familiar name. Hello, Miki. I am fine now. I am sorry for the worry, she says. Her voice reaches for steady, and it frays at the edges. Fine is a costume that passes in daylight.
She drifts through the narrow hall, the ceiling light humming above. She tells Mickey about that guy. They said he is dead. Agreement murmurs back, keeping pace with her steps. That is right, she adds, but the word stalls.
Her hand finds the refrigerator handle. I know I should not say this, she breathes. A truth rises with a taste like rust. I am glad. A crisp click snaps the air, sharp as a verdict. Her eye floods wide, hooked by a hum behind the door. Relief shatters, and something colder pushes in.
Could you live with what you wished for?
The hum deepens, a second breath inside the house. Her skin prickles, and her fingers loosen on the handle by a hair. She does not move. Not yet.
If salvation came disguised as paper, would you still take it? Her fingers curl around the metal lip, the drawer slides, and a cold breath lifts from the dark. Bands of 10,000 yen notes stare back, pale and patient, like packed bones. The air smells of ink and stale dust. Her pulse climbs. Relief does not follow. The money sits like a verdict, heavy with someone else's secrets.
Her heel skids, the floor punches her spine, and the world tilts. A voice bleeds from the phone, soft, worried, asking if Hinata is there. She tries to answer, but her breath breaks into tiny, hot fragments. Her foot trembles near the glowing screen, toes gripping the air. Miki repeats the question, sharper now, while the cash waits like a trap that just snapped.
Night presses in, and the room starts talking back. Wood sighs, a slow creak that crawls under her skin. Sweat crawls from her hairline and stings her eyes. She locks her muscles, counts her breaths, and dares the dark to move first. The blanket clings to her wrists, damp and cold.
Silence stretches, thin as wire. Her eye burns. She swallows her own noise, tastes rust, and prays the floor stays quiet. She turns, not by choice, because prey always does, and she sees it. A figure carved out of night, long and starved, far too still. Light skims a gaunt cheek and reveals a mouth that forgot how to be human. The air reeks of wet iron and shut rooms. Its breath scratches at the dark, patient, almost curious. Could you stand while an abomination studies you like meat?
Did you listen to me? She remembers the warning. Every word heavier than blood. Stay out. Stay quiet. Stay alive. She broke one.
The dark answers with nothing. A single thought splinters, repeating again and again until it bites. It is too late. Keep your smile if you can. The night will take it anyway.
How long can a heart beat for strangers tapping a screen before it forgets its own rhythm? The sun licked their necks, rubber soles scraped grit, and 4 bodies hit each cut like metronomes driven by a crowd they could not see. Tiny hearts bloomed on glass, a sugar drip in the veins, a promise that felt safe because it asked for nothing, while something colder slipped in behind the pulse.
Upload complete, whispered the phone, and thumbs hovered like little gods deciding worth. The speaker thumped the room, bass rattled ribs, and a girl carved angles in the air to match the beat. It felt like a game, until the game started keeping score.
Sweat stung her eyes, legs burned, and she still lagged a breath behind the line. She was not chosen for the national stage, so the light found other faces. Standing in uniform while the team flowed past, she held a thin smile, nails biting her palm until crescents rose, pupils dilated, a tremor riding her fingers just to feel present. Loneliness did not howl here. It hummed like fluorescent lights you cannot switch off.
Online, the room warmed. Her profile grew from a few eyes to dozens, then to nearly 200, and with each tap, her shoulders unclenched and her chest loosened. She told herself it was nothing, yet the feed became the corner she curled into when the gym went cold. It became important, like breath you only notice when it falters.
Classroom air tasted like chalk, cheap soap, and the faint copper of nerves.
Her phone buzzed a soft vibration, warm in her hand, and the shout split the quiet.
Hey, you there?
Eyes turned, breath stalled, and her heart tried to shrink behind her ribs. No phones during class. She bowed her head, whispered sorry, and tucked the heat of that little world against fabric, palms damp, pulse skipping.
One day, the game asked for more. The feed does not care if you smile, it only counts. Keep grinning long enough, and the mask cuts. When it finally asks for blood, will you hand it over? Some games smile while they measure your worth. Others whisper a dare. When the shadow learns your steps, could you survive the dance? The house waits like a held breath, windows pale as watchful eyes. The wind brushes the tiles, and the neighborhood pretends to sleep. A finger drags the selector to 60-second mode, not 15. Long enough to impress, long enough to slip. Cold metal bites as the clamp closes, rubber teeth gripping the phone. Her pulse drums in her wrists. The stage is a room that smells of dust and detergent. She carves the beat across the floor, knees skimming the wood, breath steady, smile thin. The little stand watches from the desk, a red eye ready to judge. Music threads the air like a wire. She risks a glance at the frame, checks the angles, chases the perfect loop. 8 seconds in, she finds the groove. Hips snap, shoulders roll, rhythm clean and sharp. The lens does not blink, it only counts. A prickle crawls her neck. Pupils dilate, skin slick with cold sweat. Something moves off cue, a darker step, half a beat behind hers. Her breath hitches, and the room forgets the music. She forces the smile, because the eye likes smiles, because predators relax when prey pretends. The shadow keeps dancing, almost her shape, almost her timing, almost her, and the phone keeps watching, patient, hungry. If something stood behind your door, learning your rhythm, would you keep the camera rolling or run? At 31 seconds, the lens keeps counting, hungry and bright. Her breath thins. Behind the frosted glass, a human shape gathers, darker than the night. It does not sway. It listens, like a butcher choosing a cut. Her pupils widen. A cold prickle crawls her neck. Sweat slicks her back. She leans into the microphone, headphones warm on her ears. A polite chime whispers too close, not from the room, from the space near her lips. Huh, slips out, thin, a decoy for a predator that loves pretend smiles. What answered? Code, or something with lungs. Phone against her chest, she pivots toward the closet, heartbeat drumming the grip. Curtains breathe. Silence stains the room, heavy and damp. Every second stretches like chewing gum that will snap. A faceless silhouette condenses beside her, grain crawling where a face should be. Adrenaline slams her ribs. A bead of sweat breaks and races down her temple. Words hang in her mouth, half-born, strangled by the sight. She drops her gaze to the phone, chasing logic like a lifeline. Tabs name new and community glow with icons, eyes and hearts pretending to help. That's weird, she thinks. She did not set any effects. Maybe it is a bug, a polite word for something cruel. Resignation steadies her voice. Oh well.
The beat creeps back in, soft, ecstatic. She sets her stance, then moves. Books line the desk like spectators. Floorboards tap under tight footwork, toes stinging with each pivot.
4 seconds in, the wall behind her grows a shadow with a pulse. Grain blooms like mold. It leans near enough to taste the heat from her neck. She smiles for the lens, blind to the thing breathing her rhythm.
24 seconds, and the room buckles. Smoke freckles her skin. She jerks back with a thin cry, breath razored by fear. The thing swells, haloed by stolen light, an abomination testing how close prey can stand.
Silence returns like a lie. The television chirps a happy tune, innocent and wrong. Her hands knot at her chest, knuckles white. The figure is gone, or hiding in the wires. Did it crawl into the feed, or into her lungs? Could you keep dancing while something edits your life from the inside? Keep smiling, if that keeps your teeth from chattering, but do not look away. The dark watches, patient, and it has learned your rhythm.
If your phone were the only eye that could see a hunter, Would you keep watching, or let it rewrite you alive? The screen seethes with a marbled shadow, edges hissing like static. The timer crawls past 38 seconds, and the thing swells as if the light were feeding it. Akarin jerks back, breath snagging, pupils blown wide. Cold sweat threads down her cheek, fingers trembling against the case. She lifts the phone and barely whispers, "What is this?" The words are thin as a frayed string. Beyond the fog door, a human shape spreads its hand, smearing chill across the glass. The cold bites through the steam, and her heartbeat hammers in her skull. The timer scrapes toward 47 seconds, while two pulses meet at the same pain, hers and the abomination's. She taps the square, praying a button can cage a shadow that wants to devour her name. Silence presses in, heavy and wet. The shadow clings like a stain, haloed and wrong. Her shoulders shake, nails carving crescents into her palm. Every breath tastes metallic, as if fear drew blood out of the air.
The tidy room pretends nothing happened, but the lie catches in her throat. She hugs the phone to her chest, heart banging through plastic. Shame says stay quiet, survival says scream. Her thumb hovers, then it drops. She chooses to speak.
She types that a black shadow is in her house, begging someone to look with her. The interface glows, hungry, while the battery flickers thin and mean. Does a post save you, or feed the thing you're sent?
Morning washes everything clean, or pretends to. School windows shine like armor, but it is paper thin. Birds chatter, and the world forgets how she almost screamed her throat raw.
In the clip, she recoils by the door while a dark figure swells, arms wide to take. Her gasp shreds into a cry, and comments swarm like flies. Friends get tagged, courage gets borrowed, and doubt wrestles pity in every line. The feed chews her fear, frame by frame, while the creature waits between pixels. Desks scrape as the girls huddle tight, phones up, eyes bright with dread. They whisper that it is blowing up, that it might be seriously bad. Worry beats under the gossip, because a friend could die for views. Could you watch, knowing your scroll might be the last thing she feels? The bell rings. Conversations snap shut, but their hands still shake. The clip keeps climbing, and somewhere in the broken edges of compression, something listens. If attention is food, how long until it eats? If attention had teeth, how many bites would you give it before it devours you? Her classmates replay the clip with bright voices and trembling hands. They praise the nerve to keep filming, like daring the dark to blink first.
A smile tries to hold, yet the room smells of warm plastic, tangy sweat, and frayed nerves.
A friend catches Akarin's eye, a soft voice hiding a dare. They want to shoot together, to bait the same glitch.
No filter matches, so it is not a trick. Curiosity hums against the glass, bright and hungry.
Akarin leans in, mouth saying coincidence, fingers saying maybe. Her friends grin and nudge, starving for proof. The phone rises, cold as a scalpel. She breathes steady, and the cut begins. The front camera stares back, a hollow eye. The record ring sits on her forehead like a target. Behind her, cheerful poses, thin smiles, eyes a little too wide. Sweat crawls, not from heat, but from being watched by something that never blinks. Her throat tightens. She forces an apology. It does nothing. The girls bristle, surprised, then joke that she just wants to hide her method. Their laughter rings like coins on a table, bright and cold.
Akarin clenches the phone, knuckles white, gaze pinned to the black lens as if it might open and drag her in. She does not mention the shape at the edge, where the pixels bow like teeth ready to bite.
Evening settles over a neat house, curtains pulled tight. A phone buzzes with 24 notifications, each one a tap on glass, each one a bite. The lock screen glows at about 6:30 on a Wednesday in early July, and it never feels full. How many taps before it learns your name?
Voices from the feed argue like crows. They sneer that it is fake. They hiss that it is creepy. They dare them to dance together if they have the guts. Someone calls it ghost dancing, and the name sticks.
Later, she sits in her room, lit by a soft lamp and the blue wash of the screen. The chair squeaks whenever she breathes. Her smile starts small, a thin crack of relief, as if praise could make the shadows behave. A message floats up from Yuta, asking where the next one is. Sent 1 hour ago. Her pupils dilate. A cool bead of sweat trails down her cheek. The quiet presses in, thick as a blanket held over the face. She taps the plus, a little cross that blesses nothing.
Decision clicks through her bones like teeth. If attention is food, she will feed it again.
Keep your phone face down tonight, and if it starts to glow, do not look back.
How long does it take for a life to end? A single heartbeat. A single second. A breath ghosts across her neck that is not hers. Cold sweat crawls down her cheek as the ribbed shadow lifts its empty face. 1 second remains. Could you turn away, or would you feed it too?
Her thumb trembles, but it lands true. She sets 15 seconds. She chooses the short prayer every addict offers to a glowing altar. The screen brightens. Her pupils swallow light. The thing behind her crowds close, ribs like bent umbrellas, whispering without breath. The room tastes metallic. She keeps the lens between herself and the abomination.
The clip hits the feed. She spins with a smile, and the black companion mirrors every beat. Sparkles hide nothing. It keeps time like a patient butcher.
Hearts pour in by the thousands. 10,100 eyes fall in love with a duet that should not exist. The chorus begs for more. They type close, in sync, adorable. They do not smell the cold.
By morning the school hums. Lockers slam, sneakers squeak, and every mouth throws confetti made of her name. You're going viral. They cheer, as the shadow strolls behind her like a rumor with teeth. She laughs, but her phone will not stop.
Notifications gnaw like little teeth at her palm. The rich kid rolls her eyes. The nerd smirks. Irritation sharpens into a blade. Was it edited or not? The question hits like a shove. Her throat dries. Her smile cracks. She mutters that she does not know. A furious shout erupts. Stop playing dumb, damn it. Their pupils narrow. Hers dilate. The hallway grows colder, like something pressed its face to the window.
So she makes another offering. She sets 15 seconds again. The building stands like a quiet altar while the sky looks away.
Music threads through the room. At 8 seconds, the smoke congeals into a partner. It hovers over her shoulder. Taller, boneless, hungry. Gooseflesh lifts her arms. She keeps dancing.
Could you stop when the world finally watches?
The feed froths. 6,309 followers cluster at her door. Comments gush. Even the ghost has moves. Someone invites her to dance again, whispering a challenge. #GhostDance. The chain tightens. Attention feeds the thing, and the thing learns to feed.
The platform declares the upload complete. Share, everywhere, it urges. Messages, anywhere living eyes will gather. More praise rains down. You're on fire. A duo too cute. The best. 12,038 now trail behind her like footprints that never fade. The heart count climbs past 50, 2,900, throbbing like a vein in the dark. They want to see more, not knowing what more will cost.
Some doors open for applause and never close. Keep your phone face down tonight, and if it starts to glow, do not look back. If you do, it will look back. If a spotlight crawled out of your screen and claimed your body, would you still chase it? The gym waits, lights humming. The hoop gapes like an open mouth, ready to devour your shot. Feet slap wood in perfect counts. Breath hitches. Sweat stings the eyes. The music swells. Arms cut air. Knees drive forward. Rhythm hunts for a perfect host. A voice snaps. Break time. Practice resumes in 15 minutes. She folds into the corner, knees tight, phone warm in her palms, pulse tapping its own beat, breath fogging the edge of the screen. The feed blooms. They gush about Akaran, so cute, so cool. Little hearts pour like confetti, sweet and choking. Praise stacks higher, a tower daring her to climb, daring her to fall. Her lips lift. Salt films her skin, the towel scratchy at her throat. The smile is small, but it tastes like victory, and something colder, a metallic edge on the tongue. A whip crack of sound across the floor, calling them sluggish, ordering focus. A watchful gaze hardens, patient and sharp, like a blade on glass.
Her name lands beside her like a dropped weight. She jerks, thumb freezing above the glow. The screen paints her pupil, a tiny dancer trembling in a black lake.
They beckon, join us, dance for a bit. Their shoulders part, leaving a space shaped exactly like her. Her breath thins, chest tight. She whispers, I am not even a member.
A bead of sweat trails down, a cold thread stitching doubt to skin. Could you refuse?
A hand reaches. It is fine. Hurry up. She rises, phone lowering like a severed tail. The music waits, hungry. The night keeps its archive, and it just filed your name. That Nile, that in Bayer, in the mile if you dare, but keep your eyes on the light.
It is already watching.
When a favor turns ritual, do you step in or step back?
Akaran's pupil dilates. A cool bead of sweat crawls from her temple. She stammers a thin, huh, as if the word is a splinter in her mouth.
They treat her like a key to the dark. Make the ghost show up, they urge. Do it fast, do it right.
Could you promise a haunting on demand?
Her toes curl inside white indoor shoes, rubber bites the polished floor. Her breath snags, tongue dry as chalk. She begins a protest, but the word dies in her mouth.
Hurry, a voice warns. The break ends soon. She swallows and nods, yeah, as if agreement might save her from what follows.
The phone lifts, cold glass against trembling fingers. Overhead beams feel like the ribs of a sleeping beast. The lens hunts the dark. The shadow refuses to bloom.
Sorry, she whispers. I still cannot do it. Silence stiffens around her. Why? Someone demands, their curiosity edged like a blade.
She falters. The shadow will not appear. Her lashes shine with sweat, throat tight, as if it only comes when it chooses, not when begged.
A ponytail swings as she steps in close.
Huh?
She spits.
Are you saying you do not want to dance with us?
Another voice piles on, bitter and bright.
So you are famous now. Too good for ordinary people. Do not let going viral go to your head. You even made things up because you are not getting attention in real life.
Spit glints at her lip, pupils pinch, pulse hammers. The target holds still, shoulders locked, like prey frozen under headlights.
Eyes sting. The room tilts, and the music waits, hungry. Could you survive their kindness with knives hidden inside it?
What do you do when applause rots into a hiss, hungry for your fall? From high above, their voices cut, branding her a validation-hungry ghost. Power leans over the railing, smiling like a blade.
Her fingers dig into cold plastic. The phone creaks under bone. Sweat beads, pupils tighten. Her breath shivers once. Then she forces it still. Through clenched teeth, she whispers, "Shut up." The trio flinch. One glares, one stammers, one measures the distance.
She steps into their space, her voice rising like a siren. You just want to ride the wave I bled for. If you crave eyes, earn them yourself. The tile hums under her shoes. The phone flashes like a knife.
Her anger sharpens to a single word, parasite. The insult snaps shut like a trap. Her lips tremble. A bead of sweat trails. Teeth chatter against a bitten tongue. She chokes on the first syllable, a strangled sound that dies in her throat. Another girl surges forward, fist cocked, roaring, "You are getting way too cocky." The rush thunders in her ears. Footsteps slap, shoulders square. Between them, dark droplets hang in the light. A drop kisses skin, cold and slick. The metallic tang threads the air. Breaths hitch. The hall goes still, like it is holding its lungs. Eyes narrow. Questions bloom where fury lived. What is falling, and from where? Could you swing through the unknown, or listen to the silence? The crowd holds its breath, the lights buzz like insects, and the first drop is only a warning. When the next one falls, will it find your skin? Could you hear danger when it speaks in silence, not screams? A lone girl stands on polished wood, hands clasped, breath shallow. The gym yawns around her, court lines like cages, windows glaring like cold eyes. Her loafers whisper against the varnish, her shoulders tighten, and the smell of varnish and old sweat hangs heavy. Something is missing, a note clipped from a song. The silence bent wrong. A bead of sweat slips, cold as rain. She looks to the railing, pupils blown wide. The air tastes of dust and metal. The lights hum like insects trapped in jars. From the far side, two students murmur, a soft, huh, that pricks the quiet. Fear crawls, not loud, but certain.
Akaran, he calls, his voice tight. Where are those four? Her answer scrapes out. They disappeared. Did you see them? She asks. His jaw locks, his shoulders knot. I have not seen them, but listen. We are right before the competition, and those bastards pick now to vanish. Sweat stings, pulse thudding. Timing turns cruel.
She grips her phone, cold glass stuck to a damp palm. Her thumb trembles over the call icon. The screen waits, a door to rumors and lies. Across the court, the hoop looms like an empty promise. The balcony stares back, quiet as a held breath. Could you play on, knowing teammates slip into thin air?
Some vanishings do not start with footsteps. They begin with silence, a name thrown into a hollow room, and the taste of metal on your tongue. Then nothing answers, until something else does.
Could you survive when the internet decides it owns you? Power lines whisper overhead, the quiet street pretending it is safe. Daylight smiles, but pressure hides in the glare, a weight on the back of your neck.
She walks steady, the phone cold in a damp grip. Her thumb scrolls, each buzz crawling up her wrist. Breath tastes metallic, copper on the tongue. The world narrows to glass.
Hearts swarm across the screen, hungry little mouths that never fill. Comments chant at the duo, dance for us, now. Could you keep smiling while strangers carve a schedule into your bones?
At home, she locks the phone into a skinny clamp, chasing control. The walls hold their breath. Outside, the house waits like a witness. Quiet gathers, heavy and patient.
She hovers over friends and taps the plus icon, simple as a sigh. Two bright paths open, inviting, almost kind. Choice clicks. The future leans in.
A soft smile begins and dies. Pupils widen, black swallowing color. Sweat beads under her fringe. Her throat works without sound. Jaw tight. Hope curdles. Something in the dark answers back.
The lens throws her face at her, pale and shivering. Behind, shapes rise, tall and starving, edges glowing like cold fire. They do not breathe. They listen. The air smells like iron. Skin prickles. Abominations crowd in. Flesh eaters without mouths. Hunger pressed into silhouette. If she screams, will this record a prayer or bait? Her eye floods with light, a storm trapped in glass. A drop of sweat crawls like a spider. Her heartbeat hammers in her ear until the room becomes a drum. From that night, 4 were simply gone. No calls, no footprints, no bodies. The city swallowed them clean and silent. Could you sleep, knowing attention might devour you next? If attention could eat you alive, would you still walk the bright corridor? An old authority stiffened, jaw tight, breath held like a bad secret. He inhaled through his teeth, chalk drying his tongue. She did not flinch. She told herself it was okay. Glass bit her palms with friendly cold, the phone heavy as a blade. Her thumb steadied, her pulse thudding through them. His eyes cut sideways. A bead of sweat crawled, the mole on his cheek betraying the tremor. He measured the silence, cornered and shrinking. She let a smile rise, small and sharp. She had what he feared, proof and leverage, and an audience that bites. On the screen, a cheerful girl winks and dances, sugar bright. Behind her, a crowd of human shapes wavers, stitched from ash and night, quiet flesh eaters waiting. The thought arrives, so many companions like these, and it tastes like iron. Hearts and bubbles multiply, hundreds of thousands hungry for a look. Your thumb hovers, skin hot on glass, afraid to feed them, aching to touch. Could you survive without pressing it? The night archive watches, patient as dust. If you must smile, keep it small, keep it secret, before the lights go out.
How long can you stare into a blank screen before it starts staring back? If the dark asked your name, would you answer or bite your tongue and taste iron? Could you outlast what waits behind the glass?
Static shivers across the text, a jagged grin in white, twitching like something half alive. Heat pools under your thumbs while the glass chills your bones, nerves fizzing, pupils blown wide, jaw locked. Behind that sweet veneer, creatures crowd the dark, quiet flesh eaters with patient teeth. Push, and they swarm. Pull back, and they still find you. He feels it too, the one in charge, breath thinned to a whistle, sweat crawling down his spine, because your proof draws blood. Hand it over,
and they devour the lie. Hesitate, and they taste you first.
Keep your smile small, hidden in the dark, until the lights fail. Do not be sad. Save it for when the power dies.